JPEG versus RAW. In digital photography, most DSLRs can save images in one of two file formats, JPEG or RAW. The JPEG was introduced in 1992 and was a major breakthrough as an image file format, and led to the transformation of the Internet from a mostly text-based format to the image-driven medium it is today. In 2004, Adobe Systems introduced their DNG RAW file format. Since then, every major digital camera manufacturer has developed their own version of the RAW file. JPEG and RAW files are both RGB file formats. RGB means red, green, and blue, and the RGB color space is additive, which means that white is made up of 100% red, 100% green, and 100% blue. This leads to a real interesting fact. All digital cameras are actually black and white cameras. They use a special prism that allows the camera to capture 3 grayscale images, one representing each color channel. Then, when the image is displayed, the 3 grayscaled images are combined to create the color image you see. JPEG versus RAW by the numbers. JPEG is an 8-bit RGB file, and RAW is typically a 14-bit file. What is a bit? A bit can either be 0 or 1, so it has 2 possible values. So, an 8-bit RGB JPEG file has 2 times 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 2, or 256 possible values per channel, for a total of 16,777,216 possible colors. That's a lot, but in comparison, a 14-bit RAW file has 2 times 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 2, or 16,384 possible values per channel, for a total of 4,398,046,511,104 possible colors. That's a jump from million to trillion. A RAW file can contain over 262,000 times more information than a JPEG. What's all that information good for? Well, it really helps in the digital developing and editing process. Sometimes when you take a picture, even when you do everything right, parts of the photo can be too bright, overexposed, or too dark, underexposed. The most common example you've probably seen is when you take a picture at the beach. Often the people look great, but the sky is blown out with very little detail. In a JPEG file, you might be able to bring out a little of that detail, but most of it is lost. When shooting RAW, part of the information it's gathering are those subtle shades of white in what looks like the blown out areas of the image. Those details can be brought back into the image. This is the major advantage of using the RAW file format. In most aspects, RAW is the superior file format, but there are times when you might choose to shoot JPEG. When you take a picture, the camera holds that information in a temporary fast memory called the buffer. Then the image information is transferred from the buffer to the camera card, which is a slower process. Now, if you press and hold down your camera's shutter button, it will keep taking pictures until the buffer is full. So with the smaller size of JPEGs, you can take more pictures before filling the buffer. This is important when shooting fast action, and most professional sports photographers shoot JPEG. Other times you might want to shoot JPEG is when you're taking snapshots, like at a family function. Photos you probably won't be editing and that you want to easily share. Some would say to use JPEGs if you never plan on editing or if you don't currently have editing software. But in those cases, I would suggest choosing to shoot RAW plus JPEG. Most DSLRs can do this. At this point, you've invested in a DSLR. Today's large hard drives and camera cards make storage a non-issue. There are a variety of free and fee software options, And if your love of photography grows into a passion, you'll want to be able to go back to the images that you're taking now and reprocess them using the RAW files. And here's a real important tip if you decide to shoot JPEG and plan on editing your photos. Based on the software you choose, identify what formats it uses that are lossless. Those are ones that don't compress the file each time you save it. In Photoshop, you could use its native PSD file format or the widely used TIFF format. Why? Well, when editing a JPEG, every time you edit and save the image as a JPEG, it compresses the file again, which means it is discarding information. It's throwing away pixels. Resaving a JPEG over and over will severely degrade the image. Lastly, don't be afraid of editing software. There are many great free resources for learning how to use most editing software today. It's a skill that will build over time. My process has changed many times, but I have come to enjoy the processing component of photography as much as taking the photos, and I bet you will too. Good luck and keep shooting.